are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the Word of God.
Jesus Christ is Lord. This is Charity Eberson and the Hour of Liberty with Christian Women Liberty Center. Today what we're going to talk about is humility. It's Charity Eberson on the Hour of Liberty with Christian Women Liberty Center, and we want to look at how humble our head was. And does humility include the head? So we're talking about humility and headship. Someone who is head, does the Bible require them to be humble? That God made you head in your house, bearing in mind that if you're a man and you're married, you're head of your wife. You're not head of any other woman outside there. No. The Bible was very specific that the man is the head of the woman. Two people segregated. You're not head of your mother. You're not head of your sister. You're not the head of your auntie. I'm talking to African men, Nigerian men in particular, Igbo men to be precise. It doesn't make you the head of the woman in the market. It doesn't make you the head of women you see in the church. You're just the head of your wife. And if he makes you the head of any woman, every woman you see, that means that when it comes to dying, you die for every woman along the road. Maybe you don't understand what that headship means. Let me read how God looks at humility. It says, I'm reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 57, verse 15. It says, for thus said the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity. God inhabits eternity. You're not his mate. And look at, and let's hear. That inhabits eternity. Whose name is holy. Whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and a humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. These are the people that are allowed to stay with God. The people that are allowed to access God. And let's look at how that works in the book of Philippians chapter 2. I'm talking about headship. It's head. That's why Peter Nwachukwu killed Osinachi. Head. That's why, I don't know what his name is. To be honest with you, I don't want to know the name of Chinyere's husband. He burnt the woman alive just to take her wealth. That's what Nigerian men think that head being. They marry wife. In other words, they bought a wife. They bought a human being. So whatever belongs to her is theirs, and they will take it, and neighbor that will give it to them, and if not, they take it by force. He did that was it. Then again, I blame Chinyere. Why was she putting so much trust in her brother, her junior brother? The Bible said, "Cursed be he that puts trust in man." Her brother is a human being. What she could have done is just stay away, stay in a hotel. She has enough money to stay in the hotel and deal with the matter of her house, not to go in a house to stay under one roof with a monster. He has pursued her, chased her with a machete before. I said machete because Nigerians call it machete. He chased her with machete before. And listen, we're going to the book of Philippians chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2. 1 minute. My Bible is brand new, so it's not opening easily. Okay. Oh, missed it. 1 minute, sorry. Okay. Let's start from verse 1 of it, chapter 2. It says, If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels of mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. Nigerian men, as husbands, you are heard. Do you think you're included in this? Black men, I'm talking about. The Bible said you should esteem other people better than yourself. Then why then is this headship one monstrous thing that you're killing the women off because of it? It means that when you get married, you bought the woman. How much can you buy a soul? How much do you buy a human being? That's why I keep telling you people, Christianity has not arrived in Nigeria. When Christianity arrives in Nigeria, there will be a change. The change will come from the church. It's not that the ones that are the shepherds that are appointed over the sheep makes merchandise of the sheep. No, that's not what it is. You haven't got Christianity. When you get Christianity, we will know it. Listen, I'm reading from the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 3. It says, do nothing of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. You husbands in Nigeria, black men, Nigerian men, African men, do you see your wives as better than yourselves? That's what the Bible, apparently, if you're Christians, apparently where they beat women black and blue more, it's actually in the church. And okay, let me read the New Living Translation. It says, do not be selfish, don't try to impress others, be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. Do you think of your wife as better than yourself? If you do, would Osinachi have been punched to death? Would Chinyere have been burnt alive? You should see Chinyere's husband when he was being interviewed by the police. He lost it. He was like a man invaded by hornet. He was like, he had a hair-raising experience, like somebody who's just seen a ghost. He said, he was picking his head, picking everywhere, scratching himself. He said, oh, they asked, I like the question that the policewoman asked him. She said to him, are you worried that we kind of are aware that you're the one who burnt Chinyere? He said, oh, why would I do that? It's not. I came home and I saw fire and I tried to quench it. And he pointed to two spots in his hand. He said, you can see where I was burnt. And he said, this man must think that his peanut brain is what everyone else have, especially an interrogating police officer. He thinks that anyway, because she's a woman, he thinks that he knows better. You know, the way that Africans, Nigerian men see it is, because you're a woman, you can't possibly know what they don't know. And what do they know? Nothing. You can tell when they're speaking. You can tell. I can decipher people's knowledge from their writing, not their grammar, what they're writing. The way they're writing. I'm not talking about the grammar. What they're putting down is what I'm talking. You know, making sense of what they're writing. You'll be able to tell that this one is dumb. He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't know anything. Charity based on the Hour of Liberty with Christian Women Liberty Center. Jesus Christ is Lord. The problem we have in Africa, in Nigeria, is because we're making men the Lord that Jesus Christ should be. I read the English Standard Version. It says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Do Nigerian men do this? Count their women more significant than themselves? Igbo men, do you do that? In my place, when they want to abuse a woman, they say, imagine, would he be speaking with a woman that bends down to we? And I've seen all that. I've seen that high up themselves. In fact, on Facebook, a Facebook group that belongs to the district where I came from, they were talking about no matter how much a woman has, that she still needs money from the man. A woman's money is not much. And I wrote off to the woman. A woman wrote it. A woman wrote it. I wrote off to her. I wrote off to her. I said, oh, are you saying that if a woman has 50 pounds and a man has 50 pounds, that the 50 pounds in the hand of the man is more valuable than the legal tender 50 pounds that is in the hands of the woman? The problem is the women as well. I don't know what they make themselves. They're the trouble as well. I think because they're looking for favors, advantage from men, so men can call them holy. You know, if you're dumb and you do whatever a man says, whether it makes sense or not, that's when you become a holy woman in the church. If they call you a holy woman in the church, you're dead, absolutely dead. Because what they see as a holy woman is a woman who does whatever a man says, whether or not it makes sense. And the men, do they read the Bible? You're going to be joking. You joking. Read the Bible to do what with? No, they have time to eat food, have sex, and wait for to be praised. Like including in the church, from the pulpit to the pew, outside to the shrine. That's what's in Nigeria. I'm yet to meet a Christian man that's a Christian in his character in Nigeria. I haven't seen one. I'm sorry. Maybe the Lord will send one for me to see one day. One day. From the pastors to the archbishop to apostles, reverend, doctor, bishop, a cardinal, all of them. A woman used to help me with my domestic work before. Her uncle is a reverend father. He said to my to this lady that used to help me that instead of a woman winning in an argument over against him, that whatever he said, he would say that he didn't say it. He's a clergyman, clergy. And you know, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, said that in front of my mom and my grandmother before. There was a dispute being settled in my mom's village. And you know, when it comes to recounting and narrating a situation, men are very woeful in it. Their brain don't catch. It doesn't catch. You know, but a woman will recite everything from the first second it happens to the last second. And that's why men lie easily. When they come to their brain block, they place a lie with it on it. So the woman was called and she tabled everything. In my place, my tribe where I came from, when there's a family feud, they usually call the side of the woman's family and the man's side, and they all come down to settle the family problem. So they called the woman narrated all that happened, and the men, everybody there was shocked. When they called the man to narrate what happened, he was chewing his teeth and he was chewing his mouth. And my grandfather took him to my grandmother's, my mom's two parents, took this very man so when he narrated, he was shamed, and the men, everybody was livid about his behavior and what happened. My grandfather took him to my grandmother's kitchen and said to him, what is he doing? Having an argument with a woman. That what she should have done is just lie against the woman and she will start crying and the case will be over. My grandfather, I'm not saying someone else's grandfather. Can you see that this lady's uncle is the same thing that he said that my grandfather said? Yeah? And I used to have a friend, a law student, some time ago when we newly came to London, and she was narrating to me happenings between her dad and her mom. Her mom came from another kind of tribe, so when there was but they have customs like ours. When there are things wrong between her mom and her dad, they will send for her mom's people. They will come. So then when they will usually, in my tribe, they will usually first call the woman to narrate what happened. And she said all the time. And it's usually that her mom caught her dad with another woman. She said her mom will stand up, say everything, and people will be going, is that what's done to her daughter? And later on, they will call her dad. He said her dad will stand up. When he stand up, he said that the thing that they're talking about is that their mom is promiscuous. And of course, her mom will start to cry because nothing of such happened. So then her people will then start, why would a woman do that? They're talking about woman respecting. So her mom will then start crying and the case will end. Have you seen 3 men in Nigeria? The same thing going around, and it's still happening today. Men lie through their teeth. I never take any story from a man between him and his wife, never, until I hear from the wife before I know what to say. For you women that decide that what will solve the problem is why submit to your own husband, that's why women are dying, and you are the part of people that are killing them. I'm reading English, the Bereans version. The Bereans said, do nothing out of selfish ambition or empty pride, but in humility consider others more important than yourself. Don't you just love the Bible? For husbands to consider their wives more important, that will be the black man. Does this humility we are talking about include, is black man included? Charity based on the hour of liberty, Jesus Christ is Lord. I'll continue to read. Example from ahead. He said, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. It means that you should be looking out for somebody's concern, not just yourself. But for Nigerian men, black men, they're me and myself and I. That's who they are. That's who they are. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. Do you know that you and Jesus Christ are not made? He became man to save you and I. And then you mere mortal men then start hiring yourselves up. It makes me laugh how a woman that Jesus Christ lives inside, a man is claiming that you're superior to them. Then you're superior to Jesus Christ. You can't. That's why it's not working in Africa. African men can't serve Jesus, because they're superior to Jesus Christ, and African men are in charge of Africa. That's why things are falling apart. Charity based on the hour of liberty with Christian Women Liberty Center. And I continue to read. It says, verse 7 says, but made himself of no reputation. Reputation for the African man is everything. That he is respected, other than instead of that not happening, let the country finish. They don't mind finishing, bombing the whole place so that they can be respected. That's the whole problem in Africa anyway, respecting man. Charity based on the hour of liberty, Jesus Christ is Lord, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant. Can you imagine an African man taking upon him the form of a servant? A husband taking upon him the form of a servant? No, they load it over the women. When one dies, they remove that one and take another. And take another. They marry another one. You wait. If by and by, if Ochinachi's husband is let out of prison, you find out it won't be long, and another woman will be willing to marry him. The problem is not just with men, it's with women as well. Another woman will be willing to. Anyway, he hid everything about his marriage, his first marriage to Osinachi, until he picked her up and killed her. Charity based on the hour of liberty, Jesus Christ is Lord. Yeah, and being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. Wherefore God also has highly exalted him and given him a name that is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, of things in heaven, things in the earth, and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Nobody is confessing that black man is Lord, because he's making himself Lord by himself. So, everybody, disregards him because he's puffing himself up. They disregard him because whosoever exalted himself must be abased. So that's what's happening. You're exalting yourself above your women, and the world is abasing you. Black men, Nigerian men, Igbo men, that's what's happening to you. Black Christian men, that's what's happening to you. Yeah? Yeah, and because Jesus Christ humbled himself, that's why every knee is bowing. Yeah? At the mention of your name, every knee shall bow, because he became obedient, even to the death of the cross. Yeah? Yeah, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Does that include men? Does that include black men? Black African men? Working out your salvation with fear and trembling, does that include black African men, Nigerian men, Igbo men, Hausa men, Yoruba men, Ishekiri men, you name it, Nupe, wherever you come from, Kanuri? Does that include you? That's why Nigeria is losing big time. That's why you're losing big time. Let's have a look in the book of Colossians. Yeah, Colossians chapter 2 verse 12. It's not just only Philippians that has something to say about humility. Colossians has something to say about it as well. Chapter 3, verse 12, it says, put on therefore as elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, forbearing. I'm reading verse 13. Forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. It didn't say beat them to death. So we're narrowing down again to whether or not you enforce submission or you hand it over to who made the law. Yeah? Do you enforce submission by beating an Osinachi to death, burning a Chinyere alive? Is that how to enforce? No. The law to submit, you didn't make it. Forget the fact that King James said if the husband dies, the woman is free from the law of her husband. No. You visit other translations, it says she's free from the law that binds her to her husband. Forget that translation in King James. It's the same as the translation in Psalm 68 verse 11 that says, God gave the word, and great were the company of the people that published it. The real translation said, God gave the word, and great were the company of the women that published it. The women. Take for instance, without Rahab, we will all be dead. She's a woman. If she didn't hide the spies, the nation of Israel would not have come. If Bithia, the daughter of Pharaoh, did not save Moses, we wouldn't have had the nation of Israel. If Jehosheba, the daughter of Athaliah, the wife of Jehoiada, if she didn't hide Josiah, Jesus would not have come. That was the last seed, the lineage that Jesus Christ came through. We would still be damned. We would not have had Jesus Christ. If Ruth didn't decide to follow her mother-in-law, where there was no hope, where nothing could be seen at all, followed her to emptiness, eventually ended up getting married to Boaz, who is Rahab the harlot's son, we would not have been saved. So have you seen that Mary had Jesus Christ with God, not with any man? So I don't know how men are thinking that they're more important to the women who God used to orchestrate salvation. What makes you important? Let me ask you, black Christian men. God completely ignored you and walked on the ground with women until you were saved. The first Christian convert on European soil is Lydia, the seller of purple, a woman. Europe brought Christianity to Africa, and Africans say that Chris Oyakilomi, Mensa Otobil, Duncan William, and the rest of you that are preaching the inferiority of women. Without women, you wouldn't have been saved. And what is in your head, black men? The headship we're talking about, humility we're talking about, does it include black African men? What we're dealing with today is humility and headship. Should an head be humble? Jesus Christ is the head of the church. He's still humbling himself today to serve us. He was afflicted in all our afflictions and still bearing with us today. Are you black men, African black men, Igbo men, Yoruba men? Are you all greater than Jesus Christ? God is abasing you because you're exalting yourself against your women. Humble yourself under the mighty hands of God that he may exalt you in due time. Your being head doesn't mean that you're now above the laws of God. God is love. That you go to work and your wife is at home holding the fort doesn't mean she doesn't mean anything. Jesus Christ is Lord. Charity Blessing on the hour of liberty. Look after your women, African men.
You are watching Faith World TV. Faith World TV, changing the world with the word of